Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect One Word Conversations. One Word Conversations is a self-discovery, relationship-building conversation designed to invite you to look at your language. Many times we come up with all the lovely words that we can speak of and still find ourselves in a place of disconnection. Mainly because words don't just come with definitions, they come with stories and expectations and even energy. So I am proposing that you have a one-word conversation so we can learn a little bit more about ourselves, the person that we're speaking with, and maybe, just maybe, build on our relationship. One More Conversations is brought to you by IamWilliamBrown.com, a place to help you be yourself and live your life. One way that I spotlight what's available at the store is our U cards. Our U cards are a part of the Beyond the Shell series. Beyond the Shell series is a couple of children's books, Finding You Beyond What Protects You, and The Journey to Stay You, and also the journal of You Are Complete. So the U cards that I picked today to set the intention for this conversation is I am purpose, you are complete, and there is no one youer than you. This is the moment where I invite you to like, share, comment, ask questions, and if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe so you can be alerted the next time I go live. So the word today, the one word, is guest. And it's really, this word came up for me mainly because of this show, actually. I had a couple shows, probably the last couple months, where let's just say how the guests showed up and my response to them was like totally different. It's like, so it was like, well, maybe what they think guess is and what I think guess is totally different. And so they're going to show up the way they're going to show up. So I was just intrigued to figure out how and what I think about guests. So as I do, I invite a guest in so we can have a conversation. Happy today.
Good morning, William.
This is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me to be your guest and talk about being the word guest. So I'm Derenda Schubert, and I like to describe myself like this. I'm a granddaughter. I am a daughter. I am a wife and a mother, my most favorite titles. And with that foundation, I became a psychologist and now an executive director of a wonderful nonprofit that I'm honored to serve as the executive director called Bridge Meadows.
Wonderful. Well, great. And welcome to this conversation. Now, so the word guest. So how does the word guest land for you?
Well, first I went and looked it up in the dictionary just to give me a little fodder there. But truly, when I heard the word, I thought, that's my way to make connection. Is by having guests, either wherever the space is, my home or my work or on a park bench. I think about how I want to know about this person. I want to understand this person, and I want to make a connection. I want to know what is special. Like when I have people over for dinner, guests for dinner. Like, right. Okay, so what do they like to eat? What's their favorite thing to eat? What do they like? What's their favorite beverage? Is it hot chocolate? Is it sangria? What is it? Because I want them to feel known and to feel welcome, and then for us to share joy.
Well, I experienced that firsthand. It's like full disclosure, right? Yes. It's like we are connected I guess by children, right? By
by
what
children.
that, right, right. Our children are currently in partnership, and how it's so my experience of just what you said and connection, and I totally get that. Um, it was it in some cases it was overwhelming,
Mm,
because it was because we were like, okay, it's the holidays, let's just kind of just kind of hang out with with this other family and just kind of and I get, okay, what do you like to eat, what do you like to, and it's like, um just food, right? Just stop, right? Just just kind of, we're good, right? We're coming to your home, just kind of
mm,
do, everything is fine. And I really got from your sharing that it was your way of just seeing us, honoring us,
mhm,
making sure that that there was a connection, there was a space for us to really be the guests, right?
mhm,
And and show up that way. And so for me, because of, I don't know if it's my introvert label, um, it's like I deal with guests, right?
mhm.
And it's like, and I kind of, once you're there, it's great. I'll be nice. I'll give you, I'll offer you water or, or tea or, or a cold beverage or,
Yeah.
or something. But it's just like, I don't know, right? And so it is really for me that doing this show, I've changed it's changed the way that I approach
Mm,
um people or connect with people. Is that there is, I didn't realize it until you said it. There is this sense of care of them, making, before the show goes live, I give
mhm,
people 10 minutes or so, to or up to 20 minutes to kind of relax, get to know that I'm not a crazy person. This is what we're going to have a conversation, just really kind of
yeah.
see what they're dealing with. And I don't want to say I didn't do that before, but it wasn't like top on my list. Right. And so
Okay.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, I felt very welcome. I was so grateful to have 15 minutes with
Right.
just two of us where we could talk and build connection. And I felt welcomed and I felt cared about. And then that allows me to do a good job in, whatever it is you and I are doing together. And so
Right.
I think about a guest as a friend I'm going to make
Right.
or people it's really about how can I build connection with the person who's going to come in my door so
Right.
that they feel welcomed and cared about and seen. I appreciate you saying that word, William, because it really is that to be seen and to be known.
Right.
Because when we are seen and known, we can be our highest self. We can be our
Right.
best self.
Right.
And I understand the part about my 100 questions.
Right.
It was like, oh my gosh, these people don't know me. I'm asking 100 questions, but it was really, it was the first time we were going to meet. And I
Right.
wanted it to be, I didn't want you all to walk away going, oh my gosh, what the heck? I wanted you to walk around going, hey, those people are really caring. Like, so that
Right.
our best self could show up, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a mutual best self showing up. So the nervousness, like we take, to me, when you honor guests that way, you are taking and pay attention to the detail. You're stripping, you're making a strong foundation. So
Right.
then the anxiety or whatever we have going on in our head, that can be settled because you see things that are familiar,
Right.
um, and you feel cared about.
Yeah. I I'm really starting to, to kind of understand, when I've said in the past, well, be my guest, right? Be my, what is that? You're giving people permission to be themselves, right?
Hmm.
You're just
Exactly.
you're extending that, hey, that's, this is my house, is your house. when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about my kids growing up, and we say things to other kids. It's like, hey, when you're in our house, my house is your house, and
Yep.
everything. We had one kid that he took that on, and it's like, my son would be up there, be playing games. My son they would be upstairs, and then he would just come down, and like he's in the refrigerator. I'm like, what the, and I was like, oh yeah, we did tell him that.
That same thing has happened to us.
Right.
And one of my funniest stories was Ron, my husband, made a huge bowl of hot popcorn. And the kid came up, into the kitchen and just started munching on the bowl and turned around and went, good popcorn, and walked away.
And it's like, who is this? Where are your
We,
parents? Right.
I was like, oh, yeah, we said our house is your house. We set that up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm
Right.
glad you like our popcorn.
Right. It is something that I would like to believe that I honestly believe that, and I want I
Hmm.
wanted my kids' friends to feel that, hey, they're over there. You're safe. You can just have a good time. But it was like in that moment, it was like, what is going on right now? Right? And and it's just like, I wonder if that is showing up, in like in public, or is, so, and I think the reason why I said, I brought on this word, because I had a couple guests on, without mentioning any names or words, so you can kind of see them, but where just their interaction with me, I didn't feel like um, they felt like that I was welcoming them, that
Mm.
they had to like assert themselves to kind of, and it was just like, whoa, dude, just, you're good, you're right, you don't have to dominate anything, you don't have to do anything. And I was just like, I was looking at myself, it's like, what am I doing or not doing to have them feel like they are a guest, and I want to treat them as a guest, and I'm going to
Mhm.
honor this, because um, there are a number of moments where I wanted to just say, okay, show's over, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, you can leave now, right? Type of thing. And it was just like, well, I can't do that because they're a guest, right? I've invited them in, right? So it's like, so how can we um, extend that, be yourself, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then at the same time, still have our boundaries and still have our way of doing things, and kind of like, okay, you can be yourself to a point, right? Right.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I don't need you to walk around, half clothed, in
Right.
our home. Yes, we've
Right.
had that happen with teenagers, and I just
Right.
think yes, and it is interesting too, William, don't you think that like, there are some people who totally get it, and they won't cross that boundary.
Right.
Even I think about at work. You welcome people to your office, and they're not being demanding. You're often like, I'll say, I offer coffee and tea and water or whatever.
Right.
Nobody's asking me. They won't ask me for a Starbucks, triple mocha, blah blah blah, whatever that.
Right. Right.
They're gonna, oh, she's offering, so I'll take this. And then there are people who are like, "Oh, well, and could I have a pen? And could I have paper? And could we meet this way? Wait, the heat isn't right." It's like, wow, now how did you think that that was okay? Like,
Right.
what did I do that said it was okay for you to kind of go beyond this kindness that's already been bestowed upon you?
Right.
And I haven't figured it out yet. So I've tried to think about that. With the kids in the house, it's like, here's a little bit of boundary.
Right.
We teach it, in a caring and loving way, because we did say our house is your house. So I
Right.
made that. But in the office space, I think about, wow, who do you think you are? I mean, that's
Right.
my first response. Like,
Right.
whoa, 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 whoa. We welcomed you to our home, our office,
Right.
because we
Officer.
build communities. So it is very much, we are building people's homes, if you will. And so I'm like, oh, you don't get to just walk around wherever without somebody from the team walking you around. This is people's home. And so it's almost like, you want to know that about a person before they show up,
Right.
because then you can give them guidance, right?
Right.
And so it's helpful if I've seen that person in another setting do that, and then when I invite them to our setting, I can then give those parameters around them
Right.
so that they can then show up their best self, and my teammates aren't going, what the heck was that, or who do they think they are,
Right.
but I truly don't know what to do when it pops up. I mean, will say, if let's use the Starbucks example, I
Right.
will say, well, what we have to offer you is this, and I hope
Right.
that can make you comfortable. I hope that this is, and I'm so sorry that we can't do that for you, but here's what we can do. I'll try and
Right.
do, here's what we can do, rather
Right.
than the no, 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 no.
Right.
And we also, like, I'm very sensitive when I go into people's spaces
Hmm.
about honoring what that they're giving to me, because this is what
Right.
I feel like it is. It's a gift that they're
Right.
giving.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to
No,
honor the gift.
I totally get that, and I think that's how were feeling when we were at your home during the holidays. It was like, you know, I don't know, it's like edible food, right?
Mhm.
And a cold drink was like that was the the expectation, right? Right, But there was so much more. There was so much laughter and love and stories, and I mean, and that wasn't something that it was a demand for us, that it's like, okay, we're at your house, entertain me, right? I mean, it was like, I mean, it's, I mean, it's like, it's that type of thing. When it goes over, then, and that's when I was thinking, it's like, then I'm not a guest anymore. I've kind of I don't know what I am, other than being a jerk, about that's the only word that came to mind. But it is now there is something more, and that's why I was trying to say, I didn't have the language of, okay, these are the parameters, this is what we have, I
Yeah.
would love type of thing, because I had one guest, say right before the show, oh, I really don't like this word and I don't know what I'm going to say. And I was like, okay, a week before, I gave you the opportunity to change
Yeah.
the word, right? I mean, it's
Yes.
like
Yes.
10 minutes before we start is not the time to say this, right?
No.
you know.
No. No. No.
So it is that type of thing. And so it's like, okay, how can I, in some cases, not let them know that I'm like frustrated right now, right? Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
and that I'm not going to be like a good host, right, in a moment if you say something else, right? And
Hmm.
it is that type of thing. It's like we have a role,
Hmm.
it's like when we take on, when we're the guests, this is like, yes, this is like this give and take type of thing. This is
Hmm.
what's going to happen. If I do anything more than that, then now, I'm no longer the guest. I am now something else that the host or the hostess has to deal with and has to manage, right?
Hmm.
And I'm really, so I'm trying to, it's like, is there like, I don't know, tips of being a good guest or something, or like, 3 things to prove that you're a good guest. I'm wondering if there's things that we're looking for, or there's an expectation, to
Well,
say that this is a guess.
you hit on it when you said it's a give and take, because I was thinking, I show up with the word reciprocity. Like, you're inviting me, like, you invited me to be on your show. And I'm like, I took that very seriously, a big honor to me, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job. And so I made sure I paid attention to your emails, that I was responsive, and that it even showed up at the right time.
Right.
And so, because we are at very different time zones,
Time
the two
zones,
of
right?
us, yes. And so so to me, it's reciprocity. That's how I approach it. Now, and I think that's what you're saying. I'm trying to welcome people. So what do I need to do differently to make sure people know? And so I think if I'm just going to go to your example, which would have been, eyebrow raising, and to have that happen 10 minutes before the show started, would be to say, what could I do to make you comfortable with this word?
Right.
Because this is our word. I'm going to
Right.
give you a boundary. We're not
Right.
changing words right now.
Right.
So what can I do to help you be comfortable? We've got 10 minutes to figure that out.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that to
I
me,
didn't have
I
that
call,
language,
yeah. Well, no,
right?
no, because who thinks that? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? I know. Let me tell you, William. Hindsight is 2020 for real.
Right.
And so I think about, like, I like to have these little scripts in my head, because if I had been you, I would have went. I would have, had brain freeze and went, I don't know what to do. So I just like to have these little. So my first tip would be, have little scripts in your back pocket that you can
Mhm.
just pull up. And goodness knows I've done that over the years, because and the way you get to those scripts is you have those moments where you're just what?
What?
I don't not sure what to do with this right now. And
Right.
so I do that. And then I think also it's about that's why I ask a lot of questions.
Hmm.
What do you
Got
need
it.
to feel comfortable here? What would
Right.
even interviewing staff, like to work at the company I lead, is, well, what would be a work environment where you would feel like you could bring your best self to work every day? What are
Right.
you looking for?
Right.
And so and I may not be able to give it to you, but I want to know what it is. And so
Right.
that I can honestly say to you, you're going to get it or you're not going to get that. I
Right.
can tell you
Hmm.
what part you're going to get. Um, and then I think the third thing I would say is, we just all need to be kind to one another. I know
Got
that
it.
sounds kind of flippy,
Right.
but I truly believe that the basic way that we can be toward one another is kind.
Right. Yeah. Stephanie Morris, one of our viewers mentioned that be responsible and respectful. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, those are great words too, but it's like, what does that mean? What does responsible mean? What does respectful mean? Right? Those things sometimes they mean different things to different people, and you're like, okay, this is what I need to do to be responsible, right? And this is what I need to be respectful, and it just not people not show up that way. I think the one thing that I'm really connecting to how you have connected to this is guess is the way that you connect, and because I can see that my interaction how my interactions with people, if I take on that I'm a guest or I'm a host, I'm in that I'm
Mm,
moving back and forth, and that's how I'm connecting. And then I think, like you were saying, then that's how there is kindness comes in, right?
mm-hmm,
That's how grace comes in. That's how
mm-hmm,
respectfulness comes in, because it's like at any moment, I am to host, or I am the host or I am the guest. I am the sender or the receiver of
mm-hmm,
all of those things. I say in my definition of communication is a brave sender and a prepared and willing receiver. And I
mm-hmm,
think many times we don't communicate on the level that makes a difference, or because one, you're either not being brave, and what I believe is being brave is speaking for yourself, saying what you really think, not
mm-hmm,
your label or your roles, but what you really think about that. And there's a level of bravery in that. And prepared is, I have your attention, right? Right,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes some of the conversations that I have in my home that, I hear words coming from the other room, and then the words are getting louder, and then it's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, I have no idea what the beginning of that sentence was. Right? It's like, type of thing. And it's like, I am not prepared to communicate with you right now. Right, 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 please help me. So it is that the more that we get ourselves prepared and then admit that we're willing, there is sometimes that I don't even want to hear what you got to say. I'm not willing
Mhm.
to kind of engage with that. So, as being a guest and a host, really recognize that at any moment, if we're present, we there is a level of respect or
Mhm.
kindness or consideration
Mhm.
for our connection, that
Mhm.
moment in connection. And so that really was very helpful, because sometimes it feels there's like, for me, a hard connection or not a connection, right? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, and there is so many variations and there's so many opportunities, and that's, I think, really embracing that guest um, role
Mhm.
will kind of help within that.
I really resonated with what you said about receiving, because receiving isn't passive.
Hmm. Right.
Receiving is very active. You said it very well. You want to receive it graciously. I mean, we can all think about a gift we received from
Right.
someone that they spent time, they spent money, and they're so excited to give it to you, and you get it, and you're like, and right then, it is not about you. It
Right.
is about what you're seeing in front of you, the visual of the person's experience of their joy of presenting that to you, and you may give that thing to Goodwill later, whatever, but in that moment, it's not about that gift. It's about
Right.
the relationship,
Right.
and how do you honor that relationship, and and recognizing that we are not passive, that is a dynamic interaction, and
Mm.
and I don't know that we always think that way. I think we think, oh, you're the host, I just show up, it's all you on you.
Right.
I'm just gonna sit here and see what you got for me. It's like,
Right.
no, it's because if you go beyond, like, I really appreciate what you said, William. You go past the labels, get rid of the host and the guest labels. This is about you and me making a connection.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's kind of my my wife. My wife's that we are yin and yang. She's she loves being around people, having a good time, and everything. And I don't want to say I deal with it, right? Right. But there is, I'm really, sometimes it's not even difficulty, but there's this feeling that, okay, where are you dragging me to now, right?
Yeah.
What do
Oh.
I have to show? Right? What do I have to show up? And so
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, and so that is, I think, because of this conversation, for me, it's not that she is dragging me, and I can let that way of being go. It is that we're connected, and she wants me to share within the
Mm-hmm.
connections that she's making, and enjoy that, and realize, because there are many times when we're out together, or there's something that we're doing that she wants to do. She is always, I'm gonna say, concerned, right, aware of how it's occurring to me.
Mm.
So it's like she is almost hosting me at this, to kind of like, hey, are everything
Yeah.
good? Everything, what's going on? Let's kind of say this is what's going to happen. I have no idea, or something, or something. And and it is really, I think, really, it's like I said, I'm just fascinated how we connect with each other is connected to these roles, or this
Mhm.
this word. And I think it really, if we are able to really embrace it being a guess, and being received as a guess, then it almost diffuses. I don't know why that's the word that comes up. It's like there's not this alert. I mean, I didn't think that, I've we were invited to your house and it's like, okay, what craziness are we going to go into? I mean, I wasn't like on high alert or anything, or
That's good.
anything.
Glad
But
we passed that test.
right, but it is just, there's this way of just saying, okay, this is um this is our opportunity to kind of be actively involved in this connection here,
Mhm.
to 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 really kind of do that. And so, I'm just like, yeah, my wife is probably watching this, and I was like, sometimes I don't want to say anything because she'll hold me to it. But I was just like, okay, now I'll be open to do more things, because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just like, just be a guest, be kind, be kind of, just kind of be there, see how this is connection, how we're connected with this or not, and just don't put any overtly demands on it. And it's like sometimes my demands aren't verbalized, right?
Mhm. Oh, of course not.
It is like, if something happens and go, huh, okay, right. It's like, so is that how you treat your guests around here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but
Yeah.
it is that, and then we miss the opportunity for the interaction, for the what I call, it's like, it's also a part of my, don't look for perfect communication, look for perfecting communication.
Mhm. Oh,
And
that's well said. Uh-huh.
and it's like, you're basically saying what you're going to say and having that exchange to kind of perfect your communication. Most of the times when I am waiting for the perfect words or the
Mhm.
perfect timing or the perfect setting, I don't say anything. And when we don't
Mhm.
say anything, we create stories in that space,
Mhm.
that have nothing to do what's
Mhm.
what's going on, and then we find ourselves at odds or disconnected, or the feeling of
Mhm.
disconnection. But the more that I am willing to perfect my communication, I will say what I say, and you say, you know what, that was a little crazy thing that you said, or why didn't you say that? And we'll kind of say, oh, I said it because of this, and it's like, oh, okay, now that I understand that, but we don't do that around here, right? Like,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever, right? And it's like, oh, okay, and then it's perfected.
Mhm.
And I think as a guest, the more that we're willing to not putting demands or expectations or perfection on, it's like, okay, she asked all these questions, now let's see if she's going to be this perfect guest, this host, right? Yeah, that,
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
thought, but yeah, there's no demands, there's just an exchange, and that we're there.
Exactly. In exchange and then joy
Right.
and connection.
Wow.
Because I always think about I'm a guest here. And I think, well, where will this go? What will I learn? What will be the next thing we get to do together? Or, oh, I'm glad we had that conversation. I don't need to do that again. So I'll go
Right.
somewhere else, right? I'm not speaking about this experience right
Right.
now.
Got it. No, I got
But
it. I got it.
you just, it's like, I think I'm a very curious person. So I think about the word guest as, well, what will I learn? What will I experience? And I always think about this. You never know where it's going to go.
Right.
You never know. I mean, I've been invited to things where I'm like, I'm kind of dreading it. Like, am I dressed right? All that kind of stuff.
Right.
All this silly stuff you think about that are it's mindless. You should just move it on. Just come out yourself and be you. But um, I've had some trepidation, even though I'm as extroverted as your lovely, wonderful wife. I still, and my husband would say exactly what you said. What is she dragging to me now? Oh my god. Is that I still get a little trepidation what this will be. And time again, I'll show up and something beautiful and wonderful will happen
Right.
that if I hadn't shown up, I would have missed. As if I hadn't gone as a guest, I would have missed. But I'm also showing up willing to receive.
Hmm. Got it.
And I don't think we do that. I think we show up as a guest and we just stand there expecting it to like what I mean that willing to receive is being active.
Right.
It's a dynamic
Absolutely.
relationship. And if I'm uncomfortable, we have the power to say, thank you for the opportunity. And I wish you a beautiful evening or whatever it is. And you can leave. You have the
Right.
power to not have to be exposed to whatever it is that you may not want to be exposed. But more often than not, I have been blessed with a beautiful connection or a learning or oh, wow, that was amazing.
Right.
So I'm open to it. But it takes time to figure out how to do those boundaries
Right.
of, I don't want this.
Right.
Thank you. I don't want it. No, I don't want the beverage you thought I'd liked. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. It's like,
Or
who
you didn't
told you
even
I
ask
needed
me.
bourbon? Right. 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 It's like, right. It's like,
In a shot.
right.
In
Right.
a shot
It's
glass.
like, right.
Not my thing.
There's the shared economy, and I would
Mm-hmm.
when I was having a conversation with with my kids, my adult kids, about Uber and Airbnb and all the things that are part of the shared economy, and and I said the one thing that people don't really understand or get, that people share differently. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can get in, you can go to an Airbnb, and how they share their home, right? It's
Yep.
like you're at a hotel.
Yes.
And there are some people that how they share their home is like they just like put clothes under the bed, and it's like, you know, and it's like, whoa, okay. Like, it's like,
You want to
uh,
know if they read the little manual? This is how you do a welcome guest in
right.
Airbnb. Yeah, I
Right.
know.
And it's that way that I there for me, and like when we're talking about boundaries and being a guest or a good guest or a bad guest, or what all that means, is that it's like we know what it is, but we don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, as we have kids, and so it's like, I pray that when my kid is over at somebody else's house, that that they're a good guest, right? That, I don't want to hear about, your child did this, right?
Yes,
At my
yes.
house, right? Or,
I so
you know,
know.
right? Or,
I can verify your kids are good guests.
well, thank you, right? But it is that type of thing that it's like we want to be something, but at the same time, if we're not in that, like you were saying, that exchange that is going, get that give and take, um, we won't know what that means, how that,
Mm-hmm.
how to be a guest, how to host, and to that, how to really solidify our um, connection to a point that we feel seen, that we can be ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and all that, and the willingness, some of the our most memorable Airbnbs were ones that something went wrong and our host quickly fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that there it was just like, oh, I am so sorry, this is what happens, and we'll kind of do that. And that it's that after the fact that the host in and movement, right, in action, that you see that, oh, they are
Mm-hmm.
involved in this. And the other ones is like something happens, we deal with it, move on, and I barely remember that,
Yes,
right,
exactly.
right, that happens. So yeah,
Yes.
so there is this active participation with the hosts and guests. Yeah,
Mhm.
a nice little dance, right?
Yes, it is. Oh, that's a beautiful way to say it. It is a dance, and it's also about us. Like, I don't think that I had to get older to recognize this, and I didn't always have the words. I love when you say that, William. I didn't always have the words for the dance that was going on, or that this was an active experience. And so, um, and as you, I just know, okay, I just have to stop and think about what I am. Be mindful, right, and
Right,
listen to my intuition. I'm not comfortable in this as a guest in this experience, so I'm going to listen to that,
right,
and I'm going to be gracious, and I'm going to step away.
right,
And that doesn't mean the host is bad. Like, it's not
right,
a good and bad thing. It's what am I comfortable with? And we
right,
and we all and the only way we can discover that is to hear what's going on in our head, to pay attention,
right,
to listen to ourselves and our body and our gut that says, mm-mm-mm. It's okay,
right,
and it took a long time to do that. It took a long time to say, these are my boundaries. And it took a long time to build the scripts where, because I was always worried, oh my gosh, I'm going to offend them. And then what will
right,
they think of me? And I don't, and they went through a lot of trouble, but there are the people who invite you to things and you can see nobody was thinking about anything.
right.
And so I'm
It's
not
like,
talking about that. Those were
right.
easier to leave. It's the ones where somebody tried really hard. And in those, if I feel comfortable, but I don't really like what's going on, I can just say, "Oh, well, they really tried."
Right,
And I'm gonna focus on the trying and the relationship, not the content that's in front of me.
right.
So,
Yeah. I just, yeah, I'm really getting that you, if when there is something that, that stretches you, that kind of, out of your comfort zone or whatever, that it's not magical, right? Right, but I mean, because my wife and I, when we, another Airbnb story, that we realized that there's a difference between, having the whole house and having a room in the house with
mm,
the host. And we realized that most of the times when the host is there, it's a totally different
mm.
experience,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, that's not what we want to do. We want
Mhm,
yeah, and so it took us a couple times to, it's like, are we going to blame this person for
mm,
how they show up or didn't show up? Are we going to blame, or the next person, or we're just going to own that we would rather not
mhm.
be dealing with, people when we're there for a couple days,
Exactly.
and it had nothing to do with, with the hosts and their,
Mm,
who they are as people, and just kind of go from there. So, yeah, really, really understanding and trusting yourself, within that dance, and not, finding anything, right or wrong.
mhm.
It's just like, hey, you know what, I don't like this music. I'm not going to dance to this. So I'm not going to, right,
Not my
so,
thing.
right. And that's great. Yeah, I think we can talk about this for hours, because I'm thinking of a number of, I don't want to say ways that I can show up the next time. So I'm like, now
Mm.
I'm like looking for invitations, right?
Well, you have an open invitation to my home, William, you and
Oh,
your
well,
beautiful wife.
thank you. And it's like, 2,300 miles, away. It'll definitely be worth it. Is there anything that's coming up, in this conversation, that you want to leave everybody with?
I would like everyone to think about, when you are a host or a guest, that is about connection and building relationship, and not
Mm,
those labels.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think that was, I'll say it this way. Before I started doing this show, and really kind of unpacking words, one word at a time, and just kind of seeing, I didn't realize my relationship to a word, that I would just say, oh, I've been a guest, you've been a guest, all that kind of stuff. But how, you know, how I felt about that, and how I felt being, taking on that role, like, never really crossed my mind until I thought about, about this before. And now it's like, wow, I can be a better guest, right? I can really
Mm,
I can make people really feel welcome on a level that they are seen and heard because of our connection. Beyond
yes.
all our labels, that's what it's all about. And
Mhm.
so thank you for that.
Ah,
Um,
thank you, William.
yeah, this has been a great conversation, and yeah, I look forward to the opportunity to not just be your guest, but then find time to host um, you again. So and
I
your
would
lovely
love it.
family.
I would love it.
Yes, I'm going to take the opportunity. I'll put you back in the green room for a while. Hopefully, you can stay for a moment so we can say our goodbyes from there. But this has been great.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Oh, it's like what's going through my mind right now is all the Disney songs like "Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest." It's just going through my head. So I don't know if I need to watch, I guess Beauty and the Beast or something, or just listen to that song on YouTube or something right now. But it's in my head, right? And it's like, please have another song in my head because I don't need and be our guest in my head for today. But yeah, what I really got was it's about our connections, how we show up, how we're there for each other, and what we are willing to kind of invite people to show up as themselves. I mean, most of the times, when I think, when I am just entertaining a label and not a person, right? Then that's how I expect them to show up. But when they're my guests, they show up however they show up. Um, and so then I get the joy of just being with them. I hope this conversation has brought value to you, not just to your day, but to your life. I invite you to reach out to me at iamwilliambrown.com for a complimentary coaching session um, to help you be yourself. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, but the world isn't waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time on One Word Conversation.